Hello children, welcome you all to today's English class. Look at the picture and guess for what it is related to. Yes, you are right, it is related to music. So, what is music? Music is a sound that has been organized by using rhythm, melody, or harmony. According to Walter Savage Landor, an English writer, music is God's gift to man, the only art of heaven given to earth, the only art of earth we take to heaven. All of us love music, isn't it? Yes. You may have your own way of looking at music. For instance, one of you may say, music is the divine art. Music changes the life of man. Music is the voice of the soul, and so on. So today we have here the prose, the concert, written by Shanta Rameshwar Rao, which is related to music. So before we proceed, let's read about the author. The concert lesson is written by Shanta Rameshwar Rao. She is an Indian writer of myths, legends, folk tales, short stories and picture books for children. She has retold the tales from Indian scriptures and reworked folk tales and myths from little known tribal communities and far-flung areas of India. She has written in Tales of Ancient India, Children's Mahabharat, and Worship of Shiva and many books. Here the author narrates an incident which is very much heart-touching. Now let's begin the prose, the concert by Shanta Rameshwar Rao. Once there lived a small family of 4 parents, their daughter Smita and son Anant in Gaganpur. Anant was a bright, smart boy who excelled in studies and sports. Both of them were learning sitar and Anant was much better in that too. Tragedy struck the family when Anant was diagnosed with cancer. The family came to Mumbai with high hopes of curing his affliction. They stayed at Aunt Sushila's house as Anant was undergoing treatment. So, in the first paragraph, one morning in a small apartment in Bombay, a girl of about 16 looked up from the newspaper and said excitedly, Pandit Ravi Shankar's playing tomorrow at the Shanmukhanand Auditorium. Shh, shh, said her mother, pointing to the figure sleeping on the bed. You'll wake him up. You know, he needs all the sleep and rest he can get. So children, what happened? One morning in a small apartment in Bombay, a girl of about 16 looked up from the newspaper and said excitedly, here a girl refers to Smita. She was about 16 years old. What she was doing? She was reading the newspaper. While she was reading the newspaper, she became very excited. The reason was that Pandit Ravi Shankar's playing tomorrow at the Shanmukhanand Auditorium. The news report, in the sense it was such like that Pandit Ravi Shankar's playing tomorrow at the Shanmukhanand Auditorium. So, Pandit Ravi Shankar was a great sitarist. He was born on 7th of April 1920, place Varanasi in UP. Occupation, musician, composer. famous as Sitar Maestro, awards Bharat Ratna, Padma Bhushan, Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, and Padma Vibhushan, so on. Shh, shh, said her mother, pointing to the figure sleeping on the bed. So here, mother pointed to the figure. Here the figure refers to Anant. He was sleeping on the bed. You will wake him up. Here you refers to Smita. You know he needs all the sleep and rest he can get. In the second paragraph, but the boy on the bed was not asleep. Pandit Ravi Shankar, he said. Pandit Ravi Shankar, the sitar maestro. He raised himself up on his elbows for 1 second, then fell back. But his eyes were shining. We mustn't miss the chance, he said. I have always wanted to hear him and see him. So, mother made a sign pointing to the figure sleeping on the bed to Smita, so that the figure, in the sense Anant, who is sleeping there, he should not wake. But the boy Anant on the bed was not asleep. Okay, he was listening. As soon as he heard the name Pandit Ravi Shankar, he became excited, very excited. Pandit Ravi Shankar, he said. Pandit Ravi Shankar, the sitar maestro, maestro in the sense an eminent person, a great performer, especially a musician. He raised himself up on his elbows for 1 second, then fell back. When he heard the name Pandit Ravi Shankar, he became excited, very much excited. He forgot all his pain, everything, and wanted to raise. In the sense, he wanted to sit. Okay, he raised himself upon his elbows for 1 second, but he couldn't. Then he fell back. But his eyes were shining because he was very much excited. We mustn't miss the chance, he said. Here he refers to Anant. I have always wanted to hear him and see him. I refers to Anant. Always wanted to hear him and see him. Here him refers to Pandit Ravi Shankar. In the next paragraph, lie down, son, lie down. His mother sprang to his side. He actually raised himself up without help. She murmured with a catch in her throat, and her eyes turned to the idols on the corner shelf. The prayer which she uttered endlessly came unbidden to her lips. I must hear him and see him, the boy repeated. It's the chance of a lifetime. Then he began to cough and gasp for breath and had to be given oxygen from the cylinder that stood under the bed. But his large eyes were fixed on his sister. So here we see in the third paragraph, the mother says, lie down, son, lie down. His mother sprang to his side. She moved very quickly to his side and made him to sleep. He actually raised himself up without help. Okay, this happened after a long time, as he was suffering from cancer. He was sick. He was bedridden. So he actually raised himself up without help. Without help. He raised himself up without help because he heard the name of Pandit Ravi Shankar. She murmured with a catch in her throat. Here she refers to Anand's mother, with a catch in her throat, in the sense with the feeling of great sorrow, and her eyes turned to the idols on the corner shelf. Okay, she turned to the idols on the corner shelf. The prayer which she uttered endlessly came unbidden to her lips. Why did she turn? In the sense, the prayer which she uttered, which she said endlessly, came unbidden to her lips. Unbidden, without being asked, the prayers came to her lips. I must hear him and see him, the boy repeated. It's the chance of a lifetime. Then he began to cough and gasp for breath and had to be given oxygen from the cylinder that stood under the bed, but his large eyes were fixed on his sister. So I must hear him and see him. He was very excited to see Pandit Ravi Shankar and to listen to his music. The boy went on repeating the same thing. It's the chance of a lifetime. He says, this chance I'm not going to get again and again. It is the chance of a lifetime. Then he began to cough and gasp for breath. He was feeling very difficult to take the breath. So he had to be given oxygen from the cylinder that stood under the bed. But his large eyes were fixed on his sister because he was wanted to see Pandit Ravi Shankar and attend the concert of Pandit Ravi Shankar. So children, I hope you have understood this prose, the first part of the prose, the concert. We'll continue the next part in the next session. Thank you.